tonight on Sunday Sports Extra. It appears like it's a done deal. Welcome back, everyone. The NASCAR Winston Cup circuit paid a visit to Dover Downs this weekend for the Miller 500, and it was one of those days where only 5 drivers would finish on the lead lap up to the Monster Mile at Dover Downs, where they were all made well aware today that the Monster was in a grumpy mood. Starting it out, pole sitter Bobby Labonte had the field covered. He was lapping cars after only 19 laps of the race, but lap 29, watch what happened. Labonte up front gets nudged by Kyle Petty, and there goes your leader out of the race. Smacks the back end, and he would have an extended stay in the pits. He finally got back out for some points runs a little later, but a rough way for Bobby Labonte. Check this out. Gary Bradbury sideways. Ward Button and John Andretti duck for cover. They all get some sheet metal damage, but all would be okay. If you want to talk sheet metal damage, some major damage here. Jeff Bodine scrubs the wall as he comes down. Dick Trickle nowhere to go. Bobby Hillin nowhere to go. Major impact by all 3 drivers. Fortunately, all would be okay. Let's take another look at this one. Look at the impact by both cars. Nowhere to go by any of the drivers, but fortunately, Bodine, Trickle, and Hillen would all walk away from this thing uninjured. You want to see some great driving? Check this out. The number 37 car inside. That is Jeremy Mayfield. He is sideways at 140 miles an hour and saves it. That is some great driving. Wild and wacky events, chain of events here. Lap 452, John Andretti gets tapped. He winds up sliding down the backstretch for the E-ticket ride. He's in the wall. But watch what happens. Your leader, Dale Jarrett, sees the wreck. He slows. Number 2, Jeff Gordon, doesn't see it, and he rear ends the leader, Dale Jarrett. Take another look on board with John Andretti. Here goes the nudge, and there goes Andretti. He winds up slapping it into the backstretch wall, but once again, watch what happens to your leaders. Jarrett slows. Gordon doesn't. He rear ends Jarrett. Gordon winds up finishing 26th. Jarrett winds up finishing 32nd. What a chain of events. Another leader gets taken out. 27 laps to go. Ernie Irvin had a full straightaway lead on everybody. He hit some oil down in turn 1, and he winds up slapping up against the outside wall. Fortunately, he would be okay, but his day's done. Chase to the checkered. Great finish here on the final lap. Coming out of 4, Ricky Rudd in front, Mark Martin on his bumper. But Rudd holds the Tide machine in front to win the Miller 500. Ricky Rudd has now won at least 1 race in each of the last 15 years. And that's a pretty impressive record indeed. So the streak does indeed continue for Ricky Rudd, as his Tide machine was one of 6 Fords in the top 10 today. Mark Martin and his Roush teammate Jeff Burton and Jeremy Mayfield join the Ford Brigade up at the top at Dover. Kyle Petty puts the Hot Wheels Pontiac into 5th. Ken Schrader rolls the Skoll Chevy into 6th. Michael Waltrip gives the Wood Brothers a 7th place finish. Bill Elliott and the McDonald's Ford in 8th. Mike Skinner and Sterling Marlin round out the top 10 for Chevrolet. All right, a slight shakeup in the Winston Cup point standings. Terry Labonte is the man on top with 1,812 points. Hendrick teammate Jeff Gordon is 37 points back. Mark Martin moves up to 3rd in points. He's 78 points off the pace. Dale Jarrett slips to 4th, 156 points back, with Jeff Burton and Dale Earnhardt rounding out the top 6 in points this week. Next weekend, the Winston Cup circuit heads to the mountains for the Pocono 500. The Indy Car drivers were busy this weekend up at Milwaukee for the Miller 200. That's right, the Milwaukee Mile. Paul Tracy leading the field from the pole, going after his 4th consecutive win. Would he get it? Well, we'll have to wait and see. Parker Johnstone would definitely not be the man winning it. He takes the slide back up against the wall. Later on, Max Pappas gets the hello wall treatment as well. Fortunately, all these guys would be okay. It would come down to pits. Who got out of the pit first? Well, Greg Moore did. Greg Moore goes on to win the Miller 200 on the Milwaukee Mile. He becomes the youngest PPG event winner ever. Michael Andretti would finish 2nd. All right, let's head now to the local tracks to see who was able to dodge the raindrops this weekend. Friday night fared pretty well out at Orlando Speedworld. Starting it out with the modifieds, Ross Eldridge, Greg Betts, and Tim Laurent all get together and tangle down in turn number 1. Let's try it again. Nah, it's not going to work this time. Russ Thompson and Joe Middleton stack things up as they head into turn number 2. Let's move on to the sportsmen's now. Ardell Cogan climbs the hood of Pete Fowler down in turn number 2. They were just piggybacking along through down there. Slight fire under the car of Pete Fowler, but all would be okay. On to the late model, a 50-lap end of the monther, $1,000 to win. Jack Cook up front along with Steve Dorr as they started this thing. Check this one out. Steve Dorr and Kevin Lawrence, the leaders, they tangle, and look at Kevin Lawrence's car winds up sideways up against the fence. Fortunately, all the drivers would be okay in this. Steve Dorr gets out of his car and comes around to see, well, maybe I should see if I could help him. Let me hop out and get around there. And then he says, oh, wait a minute, this guy doesn't look like he's too happy. No, he's not. Kevin Lawrence not a happy guy indeed. Jack Cook would go on to get the win. Ricky Wood would finish second. All right, on to Volusia County Speedway for Friday night's dirt track action. We see some of the classic cars. Now, these are cars from the Daytona Antique Race Car Association. They're authentic race cars from the early era, mostly through the 50s and the 70s. Most of these cars raced on the beach. You can see some of them not faring that well on the dirt track. Jacobs and Jamie Franklin crashing there, but a good time would be had by all. No racing Saturday night on the asphalt out there because of the rain. But, yes, indeed, a good time was had by all. All right, when we come back, Tim Gray takes a look at a local basketball player who is headed to L.A. and know her name. Yep, not over.